Hey, welcome to Fast Track pyRevit Setup. I'm so excited that you are here and ready to learn how to get started with pyRevit. This will help you create custom tools and automations in Revit. And you definitely picked the right tool for the job, and I'll do my best to explain you everything you need to know to get started. And also, this training will solve your biggest issue. Because you see, Python and Revit API, they might be hard, but they are not the hardest. The hardest part is actually starting, taking your first step, setting up everything correctly, and creating your first button. And it's not complicated, but the issue is that most people think it's complicated, and therefore they never start. But not you, because you are here, and that puts you ahead of 90% of people in AEC. And I'm gonna walk you through everything you need to get started. We'll set up your pyRevit. We'll create your own pyRevit extension in just 2 minutes because I'm going to provide the starter kit. I will explain you pyRevit anatomy so you can customize anything in your toolbar. We'll set up your code editor so it's configured correctly for pyRevit development. I'm going to give you a quick tour so you don't feel lost in IDs as well. And most importantly, we're going to create your very first pyRevit tool together. But the thing is that after all of that, you'll have your own pyRevit extension in Revit, and you will know exactly the process for creating next tools. From there, well, the sky is the limit. So let's begin this training and get you started with pyRevit as soon as possible. All right, welcome back. So first thing first, we need to download and install pyRevit and a few additional Revit add-ins. And to do that, open your browser, and first of all, let's go to pyrevitlabs.io. And a quick note, sometimes you might see this screen, and don't worry, it's safe. You just need to click on Advanced and then click on Proceed right here. Now, on this page, we need to click right here on this blue button to download the latest release of pyRevit. So let's do that, click here, and it will open a GitHub repository of pyRevit. And to download, you can see right here is the download section with 2 files. Make sure you download the pyRevit, not the CLI version, which is command line interface. And in my case, I don't need admin, I'm going to download that one. So click here, and it's going to get you a pyRevit installer. Then you can run it and install like any other Revit add-in. Just click on Next, Accept, Next, choose the path, and make sure it's inside of App Data folder, so later it's much easier to find it. Then click on Next. And as you can see, in my case, I already have pyRevit installed, but actually I'm using older version. So I'm still going to install it to update my current version. Now here you don't need to select anything extra and just click on Install. And now it's going to install pyRevit on all available Revit versions on your machine. Alright, and pyRevit installation is complete. And now, before going to Revit, let's install another important Revit add-in. Let's go to your search engine and type here GitHub Revit Lookup. Then here, look for this repository from Lookup Foundation, Revit Lookup. Click here, and trust me, this is an absolute must-have Revit add-in for any developer, because it will allow you to look inside of elements, to read all the properties, methods, and to find what are the API calls available. Now, I'm going to show you how to work with this later on, but right now, just scroll down, and right here on the right, look at releases. Just grab the latest release, and then, in this case, scroll down until you can see Assets, which is here. And now you just need to pick up the right version. You can see 21, 22, 26, whatever. I'm going to download the single versions. I'm going to click here, and in my case, I already have it installed, but this is just the regular installers as usual. Just follow the process, install as necessary, and it's going to be just fine. And now we install the second Revit add-in we need. And lastly, it's really optional, but again, we can look for GitHub Revit Python shell. Now in here, search for this one, GitHub Architecture Building Systems Revit Python shell. Same as Revit Lookup, scroll a little bit down till you can see releases right here, click on the latest release, and download the MCI installer. And again, as you guessed it, just run it and install as usual. There's nothing different about any of these installations. Sometimes you might see this message and it's okay, just click on More Info and run anyway. This is because they did not assign a publisher, therefore Windows is not sure if it's safe, but it is safe. Now just follow next. You can see I already have it installed, but in your case, just proceed with installation. And this add-in will provide you an interactive shell inside of Revit, so you can test different Revit API and Python snippets inside of Revit without creating new buttons. It's really great for smaller snippets you find that you just want to test and see how it works. Alright, and now we have everything installed, so let's open Revit to verify it. And now, once you're going to open Revit, you'll notice right here that you're going to have a new tab called pyRevit. Inside there are going to be a bunch of new default tools. Not only that, you can also install additional extensions right here. For example, this is where you can find EF tools and many other great extensions. But that's not the point right now. We have pyRevit, that's great. Next, let's go to Add-ins tab, and here you should find Revit Lookup and Interactive Python Shell. And as I mentioned, we're going to cover them later on. So Interactive Python Shell will allow you to execute Python inside of Revit and use all the Revit API commands. And Revit Lookup will allow you to look inside of your elements. There you're going to see all the properties, method, and so on. And these are the names you're going to see in Revit API as well. But again, I'm going ahead of myself. We're going to cover it in some other lesson in the future. For now, I just want to say, well done, you installed everything we need. Now let's move to the next lesson, where I will show you how to create your own custom Revit extension in just a few minutes. This is going to be a really exciting lesson. See you soon. Hey, welcome back. So by the end of this video, you will all create your very own pyRevit extension that's going to look something like this. And inside, you're going to find resources, templates, tutorials, code samples, and even a cool button generator. There's literally everything you need to start creating your own custom tools in Revit. And the best part, it just takes 2 minutes to set up everything, because I'm going to provide you a pyRevit starter kit that's going to do everything for you. All you have to do is download it, unzip it, rename 2 folders, and then connect to pyRevit. That's super simple and anyone can do it. And now let's actually go and create your pyRevit extension. I'm going to set the timer just for fun so you can see how fast it is. And to begin, we actually need to download the starter kit. You're going to find a download button under this video, click on it, and you're going to get the zip file. Just save it anywhere on your computer. I decided to go to Documents and create here a folder, My pyRevit Extension. Again, you can place it anywhere, you can name the folder anything. It's super easy to move it around later on, so don't always stress it. Once you're going to extract everything from zip file, you're going to find this .extension folder, and inside is just a folder structure with folders and icons and Python scripts. This is going to be the base for your pyRevit extension, which I'm going to explain in a moment. For now, just click on F2 to rename it, and just put here whatever name you would like your extension to be called. I'm going to call mine pyRevit School. Now, go inside of it and find this .tab folder, and again, F2 and rename to something else. This is what you're actually going to see inside of Revit tab. That's it. We finished the step. We renamed 2 folders. That's fine. Again, I'm going to explain what's going on in a second. For now, let's just grab the path where it's located. In my case, it's here. So I'm going to copy that one. And I'm going to go inside of Revit, in pyRevit, click right here to pyRevit pull down, and go to Settings. Then go to the last tab, Custom Extension Directories. Click here on Add Folder, paste your path, enter, and we are right here. Just select the folder and make sure that you cannot see that extension right here. If you can see that extension right here, then you did it wrong, you chose the wrong path. Just make sure you go folder, kind of one outside. And if it's like this, then it's great. Just click on Save and Reload. And if you did everything correctly, then you're going to see a new tab appear in Revit with whatever name you decided. In my case, you can see here's my pyRevit School. If you don't see it appear, usually it's because you misspelled this .extension or .tab folders. So go back and verify that it's written exactly like it's supposed to. And now we have this folder. And now once you're inside your extension, you'll see there are 4 panels. There is StarterKit tutorial, there are also resources, so you can quickly reference all relevant documentation, a few resources like forums, stubs, SDKs and stuff. Then also pyRevit script template, my older ebooks if you want to grab them, bunch of code samples for beginners. This is going to take you to my website, but inside you're actually going to find a lot of code snippets, how it works, how to select elements, how to pick elements by rectangle, and so on. This way I can update it later on if there are any changes. And also link to pyRevit School. Then you have placeholder panel, so you can see how everything is organized, and you can use Alt and click on any buttons to open the folder structure. This way you can go in, change the icon, modify the script. You can even go outside and see how the buttons are organized, kind of change it, copy it, and kind of follow along. And lastly, you will also get button generator. Just click on that one, you're going to get a very simple menu. And inside, it's super easy to use. You click right here to add rows or use Ctrl-Enter. If you made too much, here's an X to remove it. Choose the type of the button you create, and then just name it. My button A, my stack A, maybe your rail A, and just pull down A, right? I'm not very creative, but you get the idea. Then for pull downs and stacks, we need to kind of fill in nested items. For example, here, I'm going to call it, I don't know, button A, then button B, button C, use comma or enter to confirm it. Then in URL, I'm just going to type here google.com. And that's it. Once you're happy, you can also choose which panel you want to target. I recommend you to always put it in dev first and then create. Then you're going to get a quick report that everything was created, or if there are some issues maybe with the names or something. And then you will see your new buttons. These are the placeholders. You can click on it. Nothing really going to happen, but you can open, modify the script, and it's super kind of quick to kind of create a button where you can start working. Later, you can change the icon and everything. So yeah, by now you should all have your very own custom extension in Revit, and I hope you are excited because I think this step alone is going to motivate you like nothing else. Because from today, every time you're going to go to Revit, you're going to see your own toolbar right there with the name you chose. And you will naturally want to go back and create more tools and make it more powerful. And also to help you do that, let's go to the next lesson where I'm going to explain you pyRevit anatomy a bit better so you can customize everything inside of it. And yeah, I'm going to see you soon. Hey, so all of you should have your amazing pyRevit extension set up and ready, and most importantly, it has your own name on it. And now let's look inside of it and understand how does it actually work. So far we renamed 2 folders, added a path, and boom, it works. But let's look inside of it so you better understand how it works, so you can customize it, because it's 100% customizable. We can add, remove, rename, move, delete, we can do anything you can imagine with it. And that's exactly what we're gonna do in this video. So let's just jump straight in, and we're gonna start by looking at pyRevit extension anatomy. Because as you remember from previous lesson, your whole this kind of toolbar right here is just a folder structure which pyRevit reads and can display inside of Revit. And once you understand it, and it's not that complicated, you will be able to do whatever you want. So first of all, it starts with that extension folder. This is kind of the root folder of your extension. This is like your project folder. Inside, you're going to put everything else. For example, the tab one is going to represent the actual Revit tabs you see in Revit. And whatever you name it, you're going to see inside of Revit, like we did with pyRevit School. You can also have multiple ones, one extension, but you can have maybe architecture, MEP, structure, pyRevit School, and so on, kind of tabs in Revit. Mostly people use just one, and that's more than enough, trust me. But in case you want to separate it in the future, that's an option. Then inside of tab, we can put panels. And panels you can see right here. This is panel StarterKit, resources, placeholder, dev panel. This is just to organize your buttons. You can also later drag it out and in and so on. So it's really cool to organize them by certain kind of category. And then inside we can put normally the push button is just the regular button. You click on it and it executes Python code. By default, there's just this placeholder with a print statement. We're going to come back to that in a moment. We can also create URL button. These are just buttons that's going to lead you to some kind of website somewhere. For example, here I click on it and you can see it takes me to this tutorial. It's pretty much the same as this one, StarterKit. But also notice we can also group our buttons in special ways. First of all, there's a pull-down menu, which is just kind of pull-down folder. And inside you can put all your push buttons. Then it's going to be displayed like that. And there's also a stack. Stack allows you to put 2 or 3 items on top of each other. So it looks like this. And it's great for saving a lot of space. And also, you can take your pull downs and put them inside of stacks. That's also an option. Great. And that's pretty much it about kind of organization. There are also 2 special folders, which are more like utility ones, and we're not going to cover them during fast track. But just so you know, library is just a place for your reusable code. So you have one place you're going to put your code, and then can reuse it in all your scripts, so you don't have to copy paste and kind of constantly kind of rewrite the same thing. You just write it once, reuse it everywhere. That's where you put it inside your lib folder. And also there are hooks, and this is a more advanced kind of topic. I'm going to cover it later in Power Up section of pyRevit School. But this is about subscribing to certain events in Revit and then executing code when they happen. For example, somebody syncs a model, you can fire up certain event, maybe log some information. Somebody deletes an element, you can fire up your script to check, is it a structural column? If yes, do this, if not, and so on. This is the hooks, we're not going to go there, quite advanced concept, but just know that there are also these utility folders. And that's pretty much it. And listen, it's super easy to understand because of this. In the StarterKit, when you click on buttons, you're going to get this default message. And notice that. Hold Alt-click to open the source code of this button. This is a super useful feature inside of pyRevit. So let's hold Alt and click on this push button. It's going to open the folder where it's located, and you will see a script.py file and an icon. You can replace an icon. You can also open your script.py Let me just use Notepad because we haven't set up code editor yet. So I'm gonna be on the same level as you. We can see the code. I can come here in title, change the name, push button A if I would want to, and so on. And what's really cool, you can explore your folder structure while looking inside of Revit. For example, now I'm in placeholder panel, which is that one right here. And you can see the first one is push button example, which is that button right here. Second one is URL button, which is that one right here. Then pull down example right here and stack example right here. So I can look at existing kind of pyRevit extensions and figure out how it's structured, and I can just copy and mimic it the same way. That's what's so cool about it. Now, also, we're not only limited to our extension. We can go to the main pyRevit extension, hold Alt, and let's say, well, first let's go to views maybe, and then hold Alt. I don't know, I'm just going to select random one, for example, that one, and it's going to open a tab. Then there's a script file, there are icons, there's bundle, there's everything. Very, very convenient. You can also go to extensions like EF tools or any other. Alt-click, you can find the source code, you can learn from it, you can steal, reuse, learn how to organize extension, and so on. That's why pyRevit is so cool. I think that's #1 feature why everybody loves it so much, because it's open source. We can look at everything behind the scenes. But here's the thing. Also, because of everything is so simple, we can Alt-click on any button, and again, we can open and rename it. For now, we don't have code editor. Let me just open with Notepad. Let's say that one is going to be a Revit killer feature. Save it. Now let's get back and nothing changed. Well, we need to go to pyRevit, then there is reload. It's going to reload pyRevit and all pyRevit extensions based on that. You can also even look at this button and copy it inside your extension, and that's going to work because that's how pyRevit works. That's why it's so amazing. Now let's just wait a little, come back, and now I have my Revit killer feature. Obviously for now it's just a print statement, but we could actually extend it later. Now, what do we want to do now? Well, first of all, with Alt-click, I'm going to open that one and we're going to clean up a little. I don't want to have any of these kind of buttons and stacks we created here. Maybe you don't want to see my tutorial. Alt-click on that one. Let's get back. By the way, I'm going to update it later on, so that's your call. Let's delete the whole panel. Resources, I'm going to keep for now. Placeholder panel, going to maybe duplicate that one. So let's come back, come here, copy, paste. There are different ways to kind of organize in terms of order. One of them is just putting numbers in front. Then it's like 1, 2, 3, and so on. So let's also keep it 1. And this is going to be push button example 2. But also, this is not where the name is. The name is either inside Python file, or there's also an option create bundle.yaml file. I'm not big a fan of them, but I know that pyRevit, like developer team, they like to use them and they want to more enforce them on us. But anyway, let's just open the script file right here, push button 2, save it. That's it. Let's get back, pyRevit, reload. Let's see what happens. Also, it's quite annoying to always go to this pyRevit tab, find this reload button. Many people just copy to their extensions, or you can make a shortcut for that. Let's just get back. You can see everything cleaned up a little. So I'm going to click on Key S to open keyboard shortcuts. Then in there, I think you just need reload. That's it. Here is the reload button. I like to make it PRR, pyRevit reload. You can choose whatever you want. Okay, now PRR, and it's going to reload it. And now look at that. We removed a bunch of sections. We added new button here. And notice that the order, it's not always updated correctly on the first try. Because for certain things, you need to restart your Revit. So then it's going to be placed right here according to alphabetical order. Because when you just create new items, they usually add it to the end. And the same thing happens with stacks. When you had buttons and then you move them inside stacks, they might not show as stacks at first. So you might need to restart Revit. That's very common. Don't panic. Just like whenever something is not right with the order, position, stacks, and all of that, restart your Revit, see if it works. In 90% cases, that's going to solve it. Trust me. What else? Oh, by the way, maybe you want to change the icon. Well, let's go to resources. I'm going to go to icons8.com. That's a very common one. And there are different ways to get your icons here. What I like to do is, well, let's say that I want to say, I don't know, def. What I like to do is go to the styles and choose a consistent style. For example, lately, I like that one, sticker. I'm not telling you to use that one, use whatever you like, but that's what I'm going to use. Let's say we're going to grab, yeah, that one is fine. Maybe I'm going to go change the color if I want to. Instead of So instead of blue, I'm just gonna make it orange. Why not? Instead of that one, black. Done. Download. Now, important thing. All your icons should be maximum 96 x 96 pixels. They can be lower, they cannot be bigger, because then you're gonna get warnings, and that's not nice. So let's select 96, 96, download. Now we got your new icon. Now I'm just gonna copy that one. Again, Alt-click on any button, remove existing icon, paste the new one. And I'm just gonna rename it to icon.png. I think I can put here whatever I want, but it always have to end in icon.png. But for icons, just call it icon.png, that's fine. If you want to have different icons for light and dark themes, you can do that. Just call it icon.dark.png. Then this one is going to be light version, this is going to be dark version. But I like to use some kind of colored icons now, especially maybe with the borders. Then it doesn't matter if it's dark one or light one, and I'm going to prove it to you. Let's go to pyRevit, reload it. Now here's updated icon. Perfect, exactly like I wanted. Then File, Options, and let me just find where to change colors. Look at that. Now the dark theme, it still looks decent, maybe even better. Well, definitely not worse. But you know, sometimes you go and you're gonna see that some icons become kind of gray and stuff like that. Sometimes they don't register that it's a dark or light theme. So I like to use colored ones from the start. And I like to have one icon. Otherwise you have two icons, and I know it doesn't sound like much, but when you have like 50 tools and plus and you need to update something, becomes annoying. So yeah, even here in EF tools, they were supposed to be orange, so I need to restart Revit to see it correctly, but with my colored ones, I don't care, they look good. Well, if you don't think so, well, you can find better icons. That's the thing. Now let me get back to white theme. Even though I like dark themes, Revit is the only software where it's like the worst one. Just one more thing. With Alt-click, let's just go inside to the panel. Let's actually go out again to Tab. You'll notice this bundle.yaml file. These are the files that can hold different metadata. And it's important because one of these data is the layout. You can control the layout, so the right order, by putting here the panel names. For example, I had my StarterKit first, resources second, placeholder panel third, and then def fourth. Now the first one is missing, it doesn't matter, but it follows the order. And let's maybe copy that one. And we're going to change the name here to something else like, I don't know, new panel. Then we're going to come here and we're going to reload pyRevit. Then when it reloads, actually it showed up. I think pyRevit made some changes because before, if you didn't put your new panels here, then it would not show up at all. But I think they fixed it, which is kind of nice, but before it was also nice that we could hide it. But either way, it's there. It's quite cool that, well, sometimes you need to come here and add it as well. Alright guys, and that's the pyRevit anatomy. That's how you can control what's inside. You can change the names, location, movements, anything you want. That's everything open source. Look at other extensions, get inspired by them, steal their tools. It's all totally fine to do. And now we're gonna go to the next lesson and finally prepare your code editor, because I bet you cannot wait to jump into pyRevit code. So see you soon. Hey, welcome back. So we're getting closer to get our hands on pyRevit code, but first of all, we need to download and set up your code editor correctly. And you could use something like Notepad, but let's be honest, you're not gonna go very far with that. And there are two main popular options. We can download OG VS Code, which is still used by like 70% of developers, or we can go for the new industry leader Cursor IDE. And we're actually gonna download and configure both of them because, well, they're very similar because Cursor is just a copy of VS Code. It just has a much better AI harness on top of it, and everyone swears with the AI tab autocomplete, so we're gonna try it out. And personally, I like to use both of them depending on the project, and also it's always nice to have a backup because you never know what's gonna happen. But also, in case you are in a rush, or maybe you cannot install anything at your company, I've also prepared a web version of Visual Studio Code with Revit API already configured for you. There is zero setup, you just go to code.learnrevitapi.com and you can start using it right away. However, you're gonna miss out on AI features, so you'd still definitely need to get a code editor. And also a big disclaimer, so listen very carefully. We're not going to execute any Revit API code with VS Code or Cursor. Instead, we're actually going to write our code using these tools and AI and all of that. And then it's going to be executed with pyRevit. Because pyRevit has its own Python engine and it's already configured to have connection to Revit. Because to execute Revit API code, you actually need kind of a Revit application connection. And pyRevit does it for us. I just wanted to throw it right away because I often get requests that people get errors trying to execute through that. We're never going to do that. You're going to get an error. That's common. We're going to execute it through pyRevit. Alright, with that out of the way, now let's go to the next video and actually set up your Visual Studio Code correctly. Hey, welcome back. So in this video, we're gonna go and quickly download and set up your Visual Studio Code editor. So you have Revit API and pyRevit autocomplete, and it also comes with AI, so everything gonna work just fine. So first of all, search for VS Code and go to the official website, which is this one. Then somewhere here, there's gonna be a button to download, click on that one, and download begins. Then once downloaded, just run the installer and install like any other software. Just accept the terms, next, next, next. Here, select all the checkboxes and install. Now we just wait. All right, once installation is complete, just click on finish and it will open up the Visual Studio Code for the first time. Now here it will prompt you to log in with GitHub. You can also click here to continue without signing in, but hey, I highly recommend you to create GitHub. It's free and you need a place to store your code. So click here, create a GitHub or authenticate if you already have one, and let's get back to the code editor. Now, once we're inside, there's like a quick intro, just select the team, it doesn't matter. Also, it's gonna tell you there's like AI agent, here's all the things it can do, doesn't matter as well. Now we are inside, and in the middle, this is the main menu. So on the welcome screen, it will offer you here to kind of get started with VS Code. You can go through to kind of choose your theme, watch some tutorials, like set up it in general. Now, first thing to do is actually open a project that we already created, our .dat extension. So click on open the folder, then search where it's located. In my case, it's somewhere here. Click on that one and select folder. Then it might ask you if you trust the authors. I'm totally trusting myself. And then right here in the Explorer, you will find the folder structure of your extension. You will see all the folders. You can go through, see all the files. You can even drag the scripts, kind of drag it around, put it side by side. There's like a lot we can do, but that's not the point right now. The point is that we have Visual Studio Code and we have something open here. Now let's just click right here to create a new file. Call it whatever you want. Test.py is totally fine. And we can test if our Python works. So you can start typing something like print. And you can see I get no auto suggestions whatsoever. I might get AI auto suggestions, but it's different. And overall, it doesn't work because I have to download and install Python extension. And VS Code even tells me, do you want to install recommended Python extension? Yes, but if you don't see this menu, then go to that button right here, extensions, and just type Python and click on install right here. Also, you will notice it installing multiple things, debugger, environment, and stuff like that. Let it all kind of download and install. All right, and now we are done. Sometimes it also opens you another pop-up menu. You can close it. That's totally fine. You can see here the Python icon appears, which is great. And I can go and test it again. But now look at that. I start typing and now I can see auto suggestions for print. When I kind of go inside, I can see some explanations of the function I'm using. So now I know that my Python works. That's step one. If it doesn't work, well, maybe you don't have Python installed, and I'm going to show where to check it in a moment. Actually, let's click right here and here. If you don't see any Python version here, well, then hold on. Just go to the browser, go to python.org, go to downloads, and download one of the Python. You can see here all the versions, but honestly, just make sure it's not pre-release, and 3.14 is totally fine. And again, it doesn't matter which version we use. We're not going to execute Revit API code with that. We're just going to use it for writing, so choose whatever. We're going to come back to that in a moment, but first of all, let's just try writing something from Autodesk, Revit, DB, import EC. I don't get any auto suggestions. I do get this AI autocomplete, which is different, but we need to set up autocomplete as well. For example, if I'm going to type walls, filtered, you can see this is AI suggestion, but if I click on Control Space to trigger suggestions, there are no suggestions because Python doesn't know what it is. For that, let's just go here to the Python icon. And here's the thing. So this is kind of all available global packages. One Python is more than enough. I don't even know why I have two on the laptop, but either way. What I want you to do is click right here on the venv, which stands for virtual environment. It's like isolated box of your Python settings and engine, so you can create multiple and switch between them without kind of messing up your settings. And it's really good for creating virtual environment for different Revit API versions. Here's how to do it. Click here on the plus sign. Then we're gonna use custom, choose whatever version you want, choose the latest available. Then for the venv, I like to call it venv-rvt-rate number. 25 is good. Then for now, we're gonna skip installation packages, and that's okay. And at the same time, let's go and do again, custom, Python, for the venv here, rvt, 26, and skip package installation. So now we can see we're creating environments, we just need to wait a little, and they're gonna pop up there just like that. Perfect timing. Now we have two virtual environments, and you can see which one activated right here on the top. So I can come here and say I want to activate that one. You can see 26 activated, then that one 25. If something bugs out, just click here on refresh here, and usually that solves the issue. Let's start with 25. Now we need to install a package which is going to provide all Revit API and pyRevit autocomplete. Before that, we had to download stuff, set up everything manually. It was a hassle. There were issues always, but now super simple. Click right here on this Create Python Terminal icon. And what it's going to do, it's going to open the terminal and it will activate your virtual environment right away. You can see there's some command by default. And here you can see which kind of virtual environment is activated. And now I can go and write pip install pyRevit-stubs-version number. Click on enter. And now you can see it's installing. We just wait a little when it's done. All right, now we have it installed. We can even verify by opening and checking out here. And here you can see, for example, we're not going to have this pyRevit stubs. But now I can also go and set up here the same. So again, I'm going to click here on Create Python Terminal and pay attention again what you have right here, because now I still have 25. Might confuse you, but that's because that's my activated environment right here. Just click here to switch it and click again. It's going to create a new terminal. Just make sure that there is like the right name of the virtual environment. Then you know you install it in the right kind of container. And exactly the same. Pip install pyRevit stubs 26. And a quick note, like you don't really need to set up it for multiple Revit API versions. Just set up one and that's going to be enough. Later you can come back and do it again. All right, and now we have it. We can kind of refresh to make sure everything is correct. Right, 26, 25, perfect. Select either one of them, just fine. Now I can kind of leave this menu, or you can also leave it. We can close the terminal. Now I can test it again. From Autodesk, let's see, suggestion, Revit. Now we're talking DB, import everything. Now it's a bit snappier. For example, we can write walls, filtered, and you can see if I click on Control Space, I'm going to get all the auto suggestions from Revit API. And that means when I'm going to start typing, I'm going to get a lot kind of faster and better suggestions right away to element and so on. Also, ignore the code. It's not the point. It's just to test that it works. You can also do the same for pyRevit. From pyRevit, import forms, alert. You can see right away, I can see it. I can see all the doc strings, what I can provide, title, submessage, and so on. So it works as well. And I'm going to make a huge disclaimer right now. Listen really careful. We're going to use our code editors for writing our Python script files, but we will never execute them through code editors. Instead, we're going to take that file and execute it through pyRevit, because pyRevit has its own kind of Python engine, which is connected to Revit application. And that's the missing piece. When you're going to try to execute your Revit API or pyRevit code through terminals, you're going to get errors. No reference, no module, whatever the error is, that's not the point. The point is we're going to use it as helping tool to write our code, but we're going to always execute it from Revit using pyRevit because it needs that connection. And don't worry, like this is just helping tool we are configuring. So later we can execute with pyRevit and it's going to kind of handle everything for us. Super simple. And just a quick thing, just to compare kind of if it actually works between versions. Now I'm on Revit 25 and I can start typing something like viewport. You will see, I will see suggestions for viewport and other things. But if I'm going to go and switch to 26, because there were some changes and this one will reveal it. This time when I'm going to write viewport, and if I'm not going to get suggestions, Control Space to trigger them, you can see first one is view position, not viewport. Because view position is a new class. Now we can verify that these are different Revit API versions. All right, and now we should have our Visual Studio Code configured for Revit API and pyRevit. And if you had any issues, please comment below this video and I will try to help you out, maybe even update this video if there are some common issues. And now let's move to the next lesson and do the same thing but for the cursor IDE, which will be our main code editor. Hey, welcome back. So by now your Visual Studio Code should be already configured correctly, and now we're gonna do the same but for the Cursor IDE. So open browser and search for Cursor IDE, and then go to cursor.com website. In here, just find the download button. Sometimes it's on the home, sometimes somewhere else. Just click and download it. Then once downloaded, just open and run the installer as usual. Now in here, just follow along and you'll notice that it's exactly identical to VS Code installation. Just select the same settings and let's just wait until it installs. And also a quick note, VS Code and Cursor, they're both completely free to use. They even give you some AI agents and auto-completion for free, but it's limited. Once you're gonna start coding more often, you'll probably need to upgrade to something like individual plan, $20 a month. It's gonna also give you a few more features. But hey, start with a free one and see how far you can push it, especially in the beginning. Maybe you don't code as much, but once you need it, you can upgrade. Now, I think our installation is complete, so let's click on Finish and launch our cursor. Alright, the best way to code with AI. Now in here, either create an account or I'm gonna sign in into mine. Continue to sign in. Alright, now I'm all set, I can go back to Cursor. Now in here, it might ask me to get some kind of plugins. I'm just gonna skip all of that. And here we go, this is the cursor. Also, sometimes when you're gonna install it, you might see Agents View by default. If it looks something like this, don't panic, it's the same application, it just has two views. This one is more agentic. This is where you don't really code, you just ask agents to do stuff for you. And in the beginning, that's not what we want. We want to start with the basics and learn how to code first, then we're going to go agentic mode. Now, same as before, let's go and open the project. I'm going to find exactly the same project, my pyRevit extensions, and select that one. And as you can see, it looks very similar to VS Code. You can see there are like icons here instead of on the side. There's like agent a little different, but overall, the same application with just different AI harness on top of it. And also, we're gonna change a little bit. I want you to hold Control, click on comma to open cursor settings. Or you can also click right here and type kind of arrow cursor settings. Then in here, we actually want to go to VS Code settings. You see, it's still VS Code. And look here for orientation. And I want to change from horizontal to vertical. Click on that one and it will ask you to restart cursor. Let's do that. All right, it has restarted. I noticed that. Now it's exactly like in VS Code on the side. That's good. So the first step is done. Now let's see. The next thing, we need to go and install Python again. You already know that. So let's click on extensions and search here for Python. So I have it right here. Click on that one and click on install. And also you'll notice it also installs debugger, but it skips environments. But we actually need to get environments as well. So click on install as well. Now, installation is complete. We can close all of those. But notice we still don't have here Python. Even if we right click, it's still not there. And I think because Microsoft kind of bans them from doing it, but we can actually fix it. Super simple. Click right here on the top or just click on F1 and type in there user settings. And we want to select that one with JSON. This is kind of your settings in a written form. We just need to add here one more setting. So put here like double quotes. Just need to type here python.useEnvironments extension, spelled exactly like this. Then here put a colon and write true underscore. And now look at that, Control S, and it should appear right away. So the second thing, also ensure that you install this pyRevit environments. That's also a very important step. So you need that, and you need that setting that we wrote right here. All right, and now I have this Python icon, I can click on it. You'll notice that I already have virtual environment set up. That's because I already have these files from Visual Studio Code, and this is the same application. They share a lot of stuff. That's why it's so good to have both of them. It's very easy to jump between. Now let's quickly test it. So from Autodesk, Revit, DB, import everything, and you already see it's working pretty good. So doc of category, built-in category. You could see even AI kind of frozen, but let's say that one, like it's working great. So yeah, our setup here is already done. However, one more thing, let's go to this Python. For example, I know that in Cursor, when you go to create your Python terminal, sometimes you might get issue because you don't have certain rights. If you're gonna get any errors whatsoever, what I want you to do is copy the error message, open the agent, ensure it's in agent mode, drop the error, and it's gonna fix it for you. You can even ask to change settings, like for example, activate mini map in Cursor. Just mention that if you work in Cursor or VS Code, because sometimes it can get confused which application it's working on, but you'll see it checks like, okay, let's check the settings, blah, 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 blah. Analyze, then it's gonna ask, that's what I wanna activate. Sure, I guess, activate, Now I have right here the minimap. You can see, well, it's made for large codes, so when you have a lot, you can navigate simply and see where you are. But hey, it doesn't matter right now. What matters is that if you get any errors, also drop it there. It can fix errors for you, kind of fix different things. It's super, super convenient. All right, and now cursor ID is also configured, Revit API pyRevit works, and they even share the same virtual environment with VS Code. That's amazing. Now, let's go to the next lesson, and I'm gonna take you on a quick tour, compare the two so we can see and understand how to actually use it before we're gonna create your first tool. So, see ya. Hey, welcome back. So, right now you should have your Visual Studio and cursor set up and ready to go. And before we dive into the code, I thought that you want to have a quick tour so you don't feel so lost and you know how to navigate and the most important commands. So, get your coffee ready and let's explore Visual Studio Code and cursor IDs. I already have here Visual Studio and cursor side by side. Visual Studio Code on the left, cursor on the right, and you can see it's pretty much identical software. They have the same panes here, exactly same one here. They also kind of on the top there's like this main setting, and right now it's a little bit squeezed, so it cannot maybe you cannot see, but you see the settings are the same. They're the same things here. VS Code has exactly the same thing. Maybe now is not enough space. And I also prepared here a style.py file just kind of for fun to see different kind of stylings. You notice it's going to be look a little different. However, we can also unify it. Go to any of them and click on F1, probably in cursor, and then type their color, look for preferences, color theme. Then you can scroll through the kind of themes and choose what you like the most. Right now in VS Code by default, I think I have dark modern. Sometimes there's something else. So I'm going to select that one. Now they look identical. I could also go to cursor, say, like color theme. I could also change something here like Monaca and so on and set kind of the same one if I wanted to. For now, it's irrelevant. I'm going to set up a different one in a moment. For now, you can see we already made them look exactly the same. We can switch between them without even realizing. It actually happens to me sometimes. And you see, nowadays, these kind of code editors, they all come with a lot of AI embedded and it's super helpful and amazing. And I want to show it to you right away. Let's create two files. So first one is going to be test.py here. You can see it also appears here because I have the same project open. But here I actually want test2.py, right? So we have separate files. You can see in VS Code, it suggests Control I to actually generate code. And in cursor, it's actually Control K. Now I'm going to drop there the same prompt. I'm just going to write something simple like generate pyRevit code for 2025, get all walls, read wall layer materials, and write in comments separated by the comma. And I'm going to copy, insert here. And now let's send it at the same time. Enter, enter. You'll see some difference. Cursor just starts spitting out line by line. And here is our code. VS Code, however, it needs to think it through first, and then it just dumps everything at the same time. Quite annoying because sometimes you think that it froze, but it didn't. Now, whoa, in this case, very, very different results. I ran this command multiple times because this is not the first time I record, and I had constantly different results. Sometimes there's a function, sometimes there is no, and so on. This one is the most different I ever got. So I'm not going to judge what is better, this one or that one, but you can see how useful it becomes, especially when you're a beginner. You might kind of create a code and think like, okay, I need to get here the path. You just Control K, get me path of my .extension folder. You just wait a little and it's going to generate some code. It's not always going to be perfect, amazing, and the best, but it's going to be something that usually works, and that's what's amazing. And you can always kind of prompt more to get kind of even more information about it. So you can see here, just got something, and actually it misunderstood what I meant, but hey, they also hallucinate, so watch out what you kind of accept. Anyway, that's not the point. Right now, I just want to kind of take you on how to navigate software, certain shortcuts you need to know, and so on. I'm going to start, first of all, go to VS Code, because that command only is there. Click on F1 and write help shortcuts. You will see this help keyboard shortcut reference. Click on enter, and it's going to open a website with this page. I highly recommend you to print it out and keep it nearby. And whenever you have time, just grab a highlighter and just go over this page and kind of highlight the most important things that you think for yourself. And slowly start building up these kind of shortcuts because they're really, really important when you code. And now I'm also going to kind of take you through the most important ones. I think I'm going to go for the cursor, but it's exactly the same thing. Well, first of all, you need to know that here, everything can be done with a keyboard. And to activate, we have this command kind of palette here on the top. We can either click like this, or we hold Control, click on P, or we can also click on F1, the easiest one. It's also going to add the caret for the commands. I'm going to explain more, but it opens the same thing. From here, we can do anything. And first of all, put there a question mark and you will see certain kind of help files. If you're going to type anything, it's going to go to the file. For example, let's open like this. And if I'm gonna kind of Control P or just F1 and then delete that one, if I'm gonna type something like I need a push button, here are all my push buttons. I'm actually looking for script.py file. Which one? Maybe I look for push buttons script.py file. Well, there are too many of them. Maybe I look for stack script.py. You can see it will find and filter things instantly. You can very quick find it. We can also name our files better because script.py maybe not the best one. But anyway, you get an idea. So this is the first one. Control P, start typing. You're going to search for the files throughout your whole project. Now, let's go to the next one. There's like, if you're going to put colon, it's going to go to the line and column. So that one is also pretty cool. Let's open this kind of test file. And I'm just going to kind of F1, delete, colon. And I can either click here, put the colon, and then let's say I need line 87 because there's an error. Ah, there's line 87, maybe 24 and so on. You can see we can quickly navigate to the right line. It's useful when you get errors and it's certain line and you have a big code. Super convenient. Also the shortcut Control G specifically for that one. So it already comes with a kind of colon. Now the next one is, let's see, question mark. Oh, the @ symbol. For that one, put the @ symbol and you will see it's going to list all symbols in your project. And symbols are variables, functions, classes, anything to kind of for Python to know. You can scroll through, see every single thing. Here's like the class, here's like decorator. There's like a lot of things that's very kind of can be convenient on big codes. The shortcut is Ctrl-Shift-O to open that one specifically. Or just gonna go F1 and then put the symbol and then it's the same. You can also add here a colon. Then it's going to be also sorted by actual kind of types. For example, we have two classes, we have 16 constants, we have functions, methods, and so on. This one is a little bit easier to navigate. Here, you can also use your kind of arrow keys to go through, or hold Alt and kind of arrow keys to go through the kind of kinds, right? Classes, constants, functions, methods, variables, and so on. Super convenient as well. And when you know what you want, for example, I want like a shape. Now let's see what else. I can click here or use shortcuts. The next one is, look for symbols in the workspace. So this one is for the kind of current file, but I can also do the same thing, but for the whole project. And now if I'm going to look for example, title, I can see there's like variable title in all these files. I can try to maybe replace something. You can see it goes to a specific button, enter, opens the files, goes me straight to the certain functions. This one is super convenient as you kind of start jumping between files. Now let's close it. Now what's the next one? The next one is search for the text. We just put %sign and say like, I need to find something about push button or button, let's say. Like you can see, I can go through, it's going to jump between files, show me exactly where it shows. For example, this is from like one file, another file, I can scroll through. For example, maybe there was like, you know what, there was something about how it works. Oh, here it is. It's an example, blah, blah, blah. And so on. Super convenient when you know the exact keywords you're looking for. And this is the main thing about navigation. That's all you need. You don't have to use it right away, but just know that it's here. And the most important one is probably show and run commands. This one is F1, the shortcut, use it all the time. I use it kind of now F1 and then put other symbols if I need to. But here you're going to find your settings. Here you can activate maybe themes. Here you can maybe kind of zoom in and stuff like that. And so on. For example, let's say I want to get my cursor settings. I'm going to go there, come here, and then I also can look for the settings. And while we're here, actually, let's set up two most important ones. The first one, search for save. I want to activate autosave. If you want to, please do it. I'm going to set it after delay, and somewhere there should be autosave delay. 1000 is okay. That's one thing I want to do. And second one is put zoom. Activate that one and that one. These two things, well, the zooming, it will allow you to hold control and zoom out, zoom in. For me, it's like absolutely must feature. I constantly love to zoom out, look somewhere, zoom in. Super convenient, highly recommend you. Yeah, so that's how you also modify your settings. And that's pretty much it. Just focus on those ones first of all, and later kind of learn other shortcuts as well. They're going to be really, really convenient and really useful. I will try to kind of call out all the shortcuts throughout the whole training when I use them, because there are some really, really cool ones that you should know about. For example, there's like F2 to rename stuff. Instead of self, it's going to be Eric. You will see that it will rename it in the context where it should rename it. There are certain things like, I don't know, if I'm going to go all the way down and use shape, ignore what it is. But now if I'm going to click on F12, it's going to take me where the same object is defined. And there are like a lot of those things. I had a video where I explained it. It took like half an hour to do it, and that was too much, so I'm not gonna do that. Instead, we're just gonna slowly, I'm gonna throw it out at you during tutorials. Now, we're pretty much done with the tour. The rest you will see as we go. Just one more thing. Let's go to extensions. I can also install a lot of extensions. I have a whole list of extensions I have. I'm gonna leave it down below. Not gonna install now. But for now, I wanna go and look for JetBrain icons and scroll down till you see that one, icon theme, and look how it's gonna look. Right now, it looks like this. Not bad, but I come from PyCharm and I like how it looks there. And there's extension for that. I click install it. And now the moment it installs, you're going to have these icons. For me, it works the best. Also, let's select that one. For me, I like it the most because it's more convenient for me. Maybe it's just a habit, but I think it looks better. Can go also and do the same for the VS Code. Just come here, extensions, again, JetBrain icons. And I think we have that one, install it. It's going to do the same. So you can see they even have very similar plugins. Sometimes not the same plugins available, but there are workarounds with agents for that. And another one I want to do is also going to look for the islands. This is the theme from JetBrains. I love it the most, so I'm going to use that one. You don't have to use this theme, choose whatever theme you prefer. But in case you want to follow along with me, you can also grab it. It's right here, islands theme, here and there, install it. Now I'm going to activate this new theme. So dark modern is fine. Here, and I'm going to activate it here. All right, now, later, if you want to make any changes to your workspace, just use agents. Let's say that I'm in my style.py, and I want to change here something, maybe a color, maybe some setting. Let's say I want a class to be different color. Make class keyword pink instead of blue. Just enter it there, and it's also good to mention is it cursor or VS setting you modifying, because sometimes they can get confused what they're modifying. That's how sometimes it becomes. I can see it can take sometimes a while to get there, but eventually it will modify it. You can see now it's pink. And you can create a lot of rules, what is colored how and so on. You can also ask for settings in cursor, copy my VS Code settings, bring them to cursor. It can do that as well. It can do a lot. Just whenever you want to try to modify anything, just go and ask agents to do that. And if you're not happy, you can always click here and undo stuff. So continue. I think now it's back to whatever it was before. Honestly, the code editor is something personal. You have to decide for your own how far you want to push it, how you want to kind of visualize it, what kind of themes you want to use, and stuff like that. But what I want you to recommend is like slowly focus on the shortcuts. This is gonna like make a big difference for you. And the rest I'm gonna explain as we go through this training. I'm gonna try to call out all the shortcuts that I use. I'm gonna explain all the additional things that we're gonna create, all the settings and stuff like that. And the full kind of my settings and setup going to be below. I'm going to make a list of my extensions. I'm going to even insert my settings. So with Control P and settings JSON, you're going to get this file. But hey, if you like what I have and you want to have the same one, you can copy me or you can just create your own. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you are aware how to navigate. Now we have your code setup ready. You know what it's all about. Now it's time to code. So I'm going to see you in the next one. See ya. Hi everybody, welcome back. So finally, we're diving into pyRevit development, and it's going to be really exciting. And we could jump straight into the code editor and begin typing our Revit API code. But I'd like us to take a step back so I can introduce a framework on how to actually create robust pyRevit tools from scratch. So not only you understand how to write code, you also need to understand how to plan it, how to create proof of concept, how to refine it, and most importantly, how to stress test it so it doesn't break if you decide to share it with your team. So in this lesson, I'd like to introduce you to my framework on creating pyRevit tools from scratch. So let's go through this 7-step process for new pyRevit tools. And it will help you to take any idea you might have. It might be rough and vague, and then we're going to take it through these 7 steps and end up with a working tool, which is going to be robust and most importantly, stress tested. And this is the same framework I use for every new tool that I build. No matter what idea we might have, following these steps will give you kind of better results in less time with more predictable outcomes. And to begin, I want to say right away, forget about perfect code on the first try. It does not happen. You see, tutorials show you clean code working on the first try, but the real development, it isn't like that. You will write messy code. You will get stuck. And bugs, well, they will pile up. That's normal. Even I do that, even I go through all of that. It's just part of the process. But tutorials often skip this. And I get it. I also make this kind of tutorials because, well, that's how we make tutorials. And you see, what keeps you stuck is actually trying to write perfect script from scratch. Because probably that's what you see in tutorials and that's what you expect in your own development. But it's not really like that. And also, you might be watching tutorials but building zero tools. We also copy paste a lot of AI code, and if you don't understand it, well, that's a recipe for disaster, and like you cannot be sure of what kind of tools you share with your team. But what actually works is building tools before we are ready. Because if you constantly watch tutorials, you will never build tools. It's just the way it is. Instead, just follow the proven 7 steps for every single tool. It's gonna guide you and help you. And don't worry, we will always start with ugly proof of concept first and then polish it later. And that's how you will ship robust and tested tools. So, what is this framework? And it always starts with one idea for a tool you want to create, and you're going to follow the same 7 steps. And it works for any tool you can imagine because, well, it's kind of the fundamental framework, I think. Because, first of all, we need to plan what we are doing and why. After that, we go into research where we still, like an artist, find all the help we can get. After that, it's good to create an outline in plain English, no code yet. And then we begin coding stage, where first of all, we code quick and dirty. Our goal is just to create proof of concept and just prove to ourselves that it works and also that it's useful. Because sometimes we create tools, look at them and like, not exactly what I expected. After that, we go into edit phase, and that's where we start to polishing, adding all features, making it more kind of optimized. And when we think that our code is ready, many people stop here. But actually, we have to go to the next step, stress test. This is where we have to break it in every way possible before anyone else can. But also, many people skip this step because, well, it's not as exciting, and this is also where most of the issues come in. But this is what makes your tools really robust and good. And funny thing also, it's one of the most repetitive steps because it's always the same things that break in our code. And once we're going to go through all of that, we're going to be ready to ship it to our real users. And now let's go through all of the 7 steps on a real tool that we're going to create. And the tool is going to be Name Swapper. It's going to help you rename views in bulk instead of clicking them one by one. And the tool is quite simple. We just need to select views, define renaming rules, then we're going to rename views, and we need to report the changes so we know what happened. We're also going to create a very simple UI, not like that, it's going to be much simpler, but this is just to illustrate what happens. We're going to grab a bunch of different views, define rules, and we're going to get new views with just one button click. And first of all, plan based on a real problem. Because before opening code editor, you need to define a real problem and understand why you even automate it. For example, every project is full of views and renaming them by hand is really tedious. Standards change, new batches get created, requirements shift, maybe we just want to rename it for some other reason, it doesn't matter. So the plan is we want to create one tool to rename views in bulk with a friendly UI, so anyone can use it very quickly to rename a bunch of views. And to decide, is it worth automating, there are a bunch of questions you can come up yourself. For example, is it repetitive? Yes. Does it happen on every project? Yes. Can anyone on the team use it? Yes. The most importantly, is it worth automating? Absolutely. It's going to be a really useful tool. So just make sure that you solve real problems. After that, we just go to the research. And here, we just need to look everywhere. Google, YouTube, docs, forums. Nowadays, mostly we're going to go to AI and ask it to research for us. But the idea here is just to find something that can help us. Because oftentimes there are already existing tools that do pretty much the same thing, or maybe something close, or maybe there's like one of the steps already kind of complete somewhere. So here you just kind of gather different resources. Maybe you find a video, you learn how to select views with pyRevit, you're going to find some blogs and realize that, oh, there are forbidden symbols for view names. You're going to find some examples how to handle certain issues if name exists, for example. In documentation, you can learn that, for example, we can rename views by just using the property instead of using parameters or some methods. And we can even find how to create simple UI forms that's going to give us more than enough. In here, again, just look everywhere, don't spend too much time on it. Just try to gather something useful that will help you. Later, you can also feed it to AI to help it you even more, or at least you will have a better understanding yourself. And after that, we're going to go to outline, where we're going to define pseudocode in plain English. No code yet. Because if you cannot put it in kind of plain English, well, you're not ready to write Python code either. And in programming, it's a very common concept where we take one big problem and we need to break down in as many small problems as possible so it's easier to manage and solve them. And for this case, well, also all of these steps, they're going to become kind of the steps inside your code. So we can define also in code editor straight away what we need to create. So first of all, we need to select views in the project. That's clear. Then we need to define some kind of renaming rules, either hard-coded or maybe with UI forms. Then we're going to rename each view one by one, well, using code, and report what changed. So first of all, we can even put it on paper, just kind of write step 1, step 2, step 3, and then later that's going to become the base of our code. And with that in mind, we're going to go to the code. The goal here, first of all, it's really important. We start always quick and dirty. Do not try to spend days and weeks trying to make first steps perfect. Here, we just want to create proof of concept fast. We just kind of skip some steps, hard code values. If it's ugly, that's totally fine. We just build it one step at a time. And for example, here we would be how to select views. Okay, we've learned from research that's how we can get views. Very simple, just 2 lines. For defining rules, again, we're gonna cut corners where we can. We're just gonna define something to test it. Okay, that's how we're gonna do this. Then we're just gonna go through all the views. We're gonna define what's the old name, what's the new name, applying this kind of rules, and we're just gonna rename it. And also we're gonna report in Revit what's actually changing. And since we're making changes in Revit project, we also have to use something called transaction. This is when you allow your code to make changes to your project. Because by default, you cannot change anything in your projects. That's the beauty of Revit API. There are some safeguards so beginners cannot really mess up the project without even knowing it. And I also want to share a quick story because in the beginning of my journey, I remember I tried to create something similar to this Die Roots Pro Sheets before it even existed. And at the time, I spent close to maybe 2 weeks creating a perfect UI form without even knowing how to create UI forms. And I didn't have AI back then. So I spent all this time working on the first steps to make my UI looks good. But then I realized I have no idea how to make the PDFs because, well, Revit was clunky and it wasn't that easy. So I had to abandon it. But if I would just focus on proof of concept, I would know day one that I couldn't make it. And I would just move to other tools. So yeah, focus on proof of concept first of all. And once it works, for example, you wrote this code, it gives you some results. It might kind of work, even if it breaks half the time, at least you know what's going on. And after that, we are ready to go to the edit phase. That's where we can add more features, optimize it, make it better, like just kind of make it a little bit more robust. Because you see, once your proof of concept works, now we can polish it. We can swap hard-coded values with the real UI, we can add new features. And for example, before, we just hard-coded the values, but in this stage, we can actually spend some time and create UI form because we know we can achieve everything else. And here's like the progression. Normally the tools, like first of all, you're going to create your proof of concept. Then you can add your UI layer. Then maybe you're going to change the output to be kind of table, so it's a bit nicer. Maybe some linkify, so you can select the views, quickly open them. And that's how you slowly go to your final tool, just step by step without kind of jumping too fast. And after that, many people think that, all right, tool is ready, send it to the team. And that's usually where you're going to get some this kind of weird looks because people are going to click on your button, get an error, and then think like, did I break something? Or I had those moments. It's always awkward. And you as a coder, you will look and like, oh, I just made that typo somewhere. But they don't know that. Your users will not know that and they will get scared of clicking your button. So be careful. That's why we're going to do stress test. We're going to break it before anyone else can. And this is where your tools become production ready. And it's mostly the same breaks on nearly every tool. For example, oftentimes users select nothing and they break your form, or user closes UI too early without selecting correctly. Maybe new names already exist in the project, so we're gonna get an error there. Maybe use some forbidden symbols where you shouldn't. And you see, you just have to kind of go through, kind of logically dissect your code step by step and kind of think of all these issues. But once you know the issues, solving them is like way easier than finding them. Because then you can exit early with a friendly alert like, hey, you haven't selected anything. If they closed UI too early, we can check the values and again alert them like, hey, you haven't selected correct things. We can add some try and accept statements just to avoid issues. We can also clean their kind of input so it doesn't include any forbidden symbols and so on. This is just one example, but just to get an idea that you always have to think about these terms. If there's UI, think about how can you break it. If there's like step to get elements, what if they didn't get elements? What if there are no elements in the project? What if they got wrong elements if you allowed it, right? So we always have to spend enough time here. And at first, it's going to be a bit painful, but over time, it gets very repetitive. And if you're in pyRevit school, we're going to go through the whole debugging protocol. I'm going to show you the most common places where it breaks. It's going to get much easier. And after that, we're going to go to the final, most exciting step, where we're going to ship our new tool. We're going to put it in production, add it to the toolbar, and let other people use it. That's where you're going to get the most satisfaction. And for example, we here are going to create like a new swapper with improved UI. The stress test passed. We cannot break it anymore. Maybe some users can, and then we're going to fix it again. That's totally fine as well. But in our opinion, that's going to be ready for deployment. Now, that's where you bring value at scale, even when you sleep. Because the thing about the development, it's one of the best ways to get leverage on your time. Regular Revit users, they spend X amount of hours working, they get Y returns. And it's quite consistent. Even if they get better, there is a limit how far. With code, well, there is no limit depending on the task you solve. Because you wrote your code once, and it can produce results over and over. Not just for your team, maybe for multiple offices, maybe you even share your tools. That's the beauty of programming. And these are the 7 steps to create any pyRevit tool from scratch. And I highly recommend you to repeat it until it's a habit, because it will naturally happen anyway, but if you are conscious, it will happen much sooner. So now, let's build it together in the next lesson. Hi everybody. Finally, the moment you've been all waiting for, finally time to go and create our pyRevit tool from scratch. So let's just dive in and begin this lesson. So first of all, open Revit. You can open any project. I'm going to go with the sample project, and I'm in Revit 25, but you can also use other versions. That's totally fine. And first of all, we need to create pyRevit button. We could use one of these placeholders, just alt click on them, and then we can reuse the existing kind of script. They are all placeholders. Or we could also go and use this pyRevit buttons generator. In here, I'm going to remove that one. I just want a single push button. I'm going to call it name swapper, or you can call it whatever you want. You can make it simpler. Also, if you want to put it in other kind of panels, it's right here. But I'm going to click on create. And now I have a new button right here called name swapper. You can see the icon represents work in progress. Later, you can always change the icons. And if you need help, you can get them from right here, icons8.com, one of the most popular places. Just go there, make sure it's less than 96 times 96 pixels, and you will be good. Actually, let's do that. I'm just gonna come here, I'm gonna write here maybe swap, maybe I find something. And what I like to do is, first of all, decide on the style you're gonna create. For example, for lately, I like this kind of sticker style. And I'm gonna choose one of these, or maybe, I don't know, change. I think I'm gonna go for that one. And also you can modify colors. For example, I'm going to go here on colors. That one, let's make it's kind of black. This one, actually blue is not bad. Let's leave it. So click on download. Again, make sure it's maximum 96 times 96 and then download. Now I have an icon. I can just copy that one, come here with alt click, open this folder, and just replace my existing icon. I would probably leave this icon while it's work in progress. It's very kind of it's very intuitive that it's work in progress, and then later swap it for the real one. Once you do that, don't forget to go to pyRevit and click on reload button right here. Now I'm going to reload it. We're going to see it later. For now, let's just go again to this folder and open it in our code editor. I'm going to use cursor. You are welcome to use cursor, VS Code, or whatever you want, but I'll probably recommend you to stick with cursor for now. So now we are inside, and I'm going to quickly run down for the boilerplate, because you will see that there's like a bunch of code already included, but it's very generic and super useful. Well, first of all, UTF-8 encoding, just leave it there. It's special kind of encoding for your characters. If you're going to remove it, you might get issues with special characters or special letters. Like in German, there's like all these weird letters. Just leave it there. It's always the first line. The second one is the name of the button. That's what you're going to see inside your extension. This one, name swapper. And the dock, this is what you're going to see when you hover over it. Right now, you can see there's a very long one, and this is something I developed over the years. There's a lot of information here, but you can also remove it completely, or I can write something, click and see what happens. Now, if I'm going to go and reload again, now you see when I'm going to hover over it, there is click and see what happens. But I would recommend you to leave that one because there's a lot of information you can fill in. And if you don't want to describe the steps, that's fine, remove it. You don't have any to do, just remove it. Last updates, that's good for you to keep track of what you're doing. In our case, we're just gonna V1, proof of concept. That's fine. Again, the date is today, and that's fine, more than enough. Then imports. You won't always need all of these imports, but it's much simpler to delete something from here than then sit and remember, okay, I needed this CLR import, what was that? Therefore, it's always here. I don't think we're going to use that one, but this list is often required by Revit API methods. So you will see it's often required. This is the one where we define what kind of element types can go inside the list. And it comes from .NET, so that's how we import it. But I don't think we're going to use it, and we're going to just keep it kind of like this. Then variables, again, you won't need all of them, but doc represents your active project. This is like the real kind of Revit project that we can relate to, get elements from. UIDoc represents the UI interface of that project. So this is mostly for selection, when you want to prompt selection, get something out of it, or some settings. We don't need it today. An app, it's application. Maybe you want to check what's the Revit year, maybe you want to change settings for the color, stuff like that. I think we're going to need it, but if we would need to check the Revit year, for example, we would look inside and then there's version number. And then we could compare if it's higher, lower, or something like that. And then output, well, this is from pyRevit actually coming. You can see here we import the script. And this is to control the output menu to make nicer prints. I'm going to leave it for now. I think we're going to definitely use it. And then here's your main code. You just remove this kind of example. This is just reusable piece of code to make some print statement. Because if I'm going to leave it and I click on that one, you'll see you get this generic message that I prepared. That's totally fine. But I don't need it anymore. That's a real button now. So let's do some work here. And we already have a plan from the previous lesson. We already planned out what we're going to do. We did a little bit of research. Well, I showed you kind of research. And I'm going to use the same steps from there. So we're going to try to select views, define renaming rules, then change view names, and then report changes so we can see them. Now let's just begin. And the first one is select views. And you can already see there's even a suggestion how to do that. I can accept it with tab. This is AI doing its thing. And the thing is that I told you that often try to do research, or especially as a beginner, because you will find that if you're going to go to here in documentation, pyRevit effective inputs, that's such a good resource. I really want to show it to you. You might learn that pyRevit comes with a lot of kind of UI forms shipped. And here is the code. Here is exactly the form that you're going to get. Super simple. It's literally copy paste, you get it. You can create forms with yes, no, with different options, just kind of alerts, kind of toast, a bunch of different things here. There are really a lot. Highly recommend you to scroll through to understand what's possible. But also there is selecting an option. And inside you will see there's a simple one, how to select views, how to select, for example, views with filtering if you want to get legends, how to get view templates, how to schedules, sheets, revisions, and so on. pyRevit is super, super beginner friendly. That's why everybody loves it. So now let me just go back and grab what we actually need is this part right here. So I'm going to copy the whole thing, go back, and then in cursor, I'm just going to paste it here. Now this import we already have here. That's what I include by default because you will often use these forms, so get familiar with them. This one is what to do after you get it. And the first one, well, that's what we already have from AI. So we have our views. Now we can even print and see how it works. Now let's get back, click on the button, and you're gonna get this kind of menu. These are all your views. We can see maybe I wanna get, I don't know, I look for floor plan, L3. You can see that one, maybe L2 as well, and maybe L1. Right? You can see multiple selected, click select. Now we're going to print it in the console. You can see a list of views. Also, don't get overwhelmed by this long statement. It just tells you that this is the type of the object. Object is stored in this kind of memory place. Just ignore it's kind of how Python knows where the memory is located. And then again, repeating here the class. Just always look right here, oh, I got some view plans, great. Now let's close it and let's get back. So first step is done, we're getting some views. Now renaming rules. And again, we're gonna cut corners where we can. And here we're just gonna define, for example, this is gonna be our prefix. Our find is gonna be, I don't know, for now just find. Then replace is gonna be this. And suffix. Right? For now, it's more than enough. Later, we can figure out if you want to add any forms, if it's worth it, and so on. First, just want to test the whole kind of idea of the tool. And you notice I make it capital. This is how we kind of indicate that it's a constant. For now, well, it's just a variable with a fixed value. It's just a convenience for us to see it right away. You can also do it differently. So now we have the rules. Now I can change the view names. How do we do that? Well, first of all, we need to iterate for views. So for view in selected views. And also, by the way, that's a loop in Python, because right here we have a list of items. For example, we might have something like list A, list B, and list C. And what this loop is going to do, it's going to make like iterations. On the first loop, we're going to grab this A, and that's going to be our view. We do something with A. Once we are done, we're going to go to the next item and do the same thing with the B, and then the next thing with the C. And this name we define right here is what will be kind of holding these values one at a time. Now we have it. So first of all, we want to get the current name. And from Revit API documentation, we will learn that there is a property called name, exactly what we need. Another thing we will learn that this view name is not only readable property, it's also writable. So it means that we can assign values, for example, new name like this. And in our case, we actually want to apply these rules. So we want to actually AI doing the job. Great. So we want to take prefix, take the current name with Python replace, just find replace, super simple, and then add suffix. We're just applying the rules for renaming. That's it. Great. So that's how we're gonna rename views. I'm gonna click on tab to move it inside. And to report changes for now, again, just current name. Then I'm gonna make some arrow and then the view name. All right. Also here, you'll notice that we're putting 3 items because in Python, print can print as many items as you want. You can also combine it in a single string, irrelevant now. Now let's go and try it. And you will also notice that when we click and select some views, I'm gonna randomly select because we're gonna get an error. And that's a very common one, don't worry. Attempt to modify model outside of transaction. And don't be afraid to see errors. They don't break your project. It just tells you that your script didn't work. Nothing was changed. We kind of reverted back to the original version. And to read errors, usually here's the name of the file. This one always the same. Here is going to tell you what line is it on. You can see line 54. And this is the most important, what's actually happening. Attempt to modify the model outside of transaction. As I mentioned previously, to make any changes in your Revit projects, we need to create transaction. We need to start, we need to commit. New changes have to be between these statements. That's how you explicitly telling Revit like, hey, as a developer, I do want this change. Otherwise, well, it just maybe kind of prevents accidental changes. It's a really great feature. That one usually nobody can understand what's here. Maybe AI knows. Now let's get back. So to create transaction, it's actually very simple. I already see AI suggestion. I'm just going to accept that one. And I'm going to write here commit. Now, the idea is that you're going to write your changes right here between start and commit messages. That's how you allow your changes. And since that's what we are changing, just want to grab that one and move it inside. And also to create transaction, we just need to provide the document where we're making a change and the name. The name is going to be shown in the undo menu later on, but you can put whatever you want. And now we are ready to go, but just one also thing. These transactions, by like in 99% of cases, they should never be inside of loops. Because right now we're going to iterate for 10 views, for example. We're going to make change for kind of each view. We're going to create transaction for each one. We're going to like, okay, make the change, close the change, make the change, close the change. Or we could take it outside of the loop and just do it once. So select that one, Shift Tab to move it left. That one, Control X, move here, Shift Tab. Great. Now we only once. We're going to say, okay, we're going to allow changes now. Then we rename view 1, 2, 3, however views we have. Then we close it and we accept it. Now we are ready to go. I think our proof of concept is ready. These are all the steps. They're like 10, 15 lines of code. And now look at that. We can click here, can select some views. For example, let's go for this floor plans. Let's write here floor plan L and just find 1, 2, and 3. Select. And now look at that. We have some reporting. It was L1. Now it's this one. And you can see it's also reflected here. So the proof of concept works. That's great. We started. Not bad. Congratulations. You just built your first pyRevit tool. A real button inside of Revit, made by you. Isn't that freaking awesome? And let's also be honest, it's far from being perfect. There's no UI, reporting is way too basic, and it will probably break if you decide to share it. But it works, it's ours, and every tool starts like this, with a quick and dirty code. We're just following the process. Now the real work is about to begin. we're gonna add UI form, better reporting, improved code, and also stress testing. So by the end, we actually create a tool your team cannot work without. So let's keep coding, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Hey, welcome back. So glad you're still here. So we've made our first tool and it's already useful. And I think most tutorials would stop here. But as we discussed earlier, it's far from being perfect or even user-friendly because nobody is going to open your code to adjust renaming rules. So in this video, we're going to continue working on the tool and start adding other features like UI form, better reporting, and just overall kind of rework our code. And a quick disclaimer, I won't go really into basics of Python or Revit API right now, because this is the goal of the next Kickstart pyRevit automations course, where you're gonna learn the basics. But now, I still want you to see the process of what happens after proof of concept. So we're gonna continue building this tool, and we're gonna use AI for that, so it's more fun and you can also follow along. And if you're an absolute beginner and find code hard, that's okay. For now, I just want you to see how tools actually evolve to its final stage. And later, when you pick up the basics and start using more AI, you'll be able to do far more than that. So let's dive in and focus on the process. Now we kind of can start iterating further. So now proof of concept works. We know it's worth continuing. It's quite useful already. So we can work on more features. And first of all, we need to solve that one because now nobody gonna open your code editor to modify. We need some UI form. And for that, we actually gonna go and we're gonna use in docs, this RPV docs flex form. That's really, really useful. I'm just gonna very, very quickly explain it. Here's the code sample that you can kind of copy and it will work. The way it works is that pretty much you just create a list of components where you just stack a bunch of things. Label, text box, separator, button, checkbox, whatever you want. And later that becomes your form. I can see that all of these ones, they actually become that form right here. There's an example. You can see, for example, I don't know if I can make it. It's a little small, but there's label. Label is right here. Then combo box, then label, then text box, checkbox, separator, button. Same things right here. The only thing is that right here we say like, okay, take these components and make it a form, then show it to us, and then give us the values that user provided. That's it. And to make it even simpler, we're actually gonna go to cursor, select that, Control K. Can you turn it into friendly UI form? Let's see what we get. I'm not gonna provide details of what I'm gonna do, and I see it going in the wrong direction. Gonna cancel it. Now this time I'm gonna select it, Control K. Can you turn it into an RPV flex form? Now it's gonna do that. You can see it made the imports, components, created form, and so on, so on, so on. Now that might look like a lot of code, but UI always like that because you have to define all components. We can actually shorten that one. I'm just gonna kind of hold Alt, I'll click in multiple places, and then delete. So it's like this. So it's already taking less space and it's actually making more sense now. So we have our prefix, text box, then here's the name. We can get the value later. You can see get the value here. So there is, honestly, I'm surprised it's not as good. So we're gonna fix a few things. Well, first of all, we're gonna skip this stress testing. I wanna show you how it fails later on. And second of all, well, we're just gonna simplify. We're gonna say values equals form values because I don't wanna define it every single time. And then for these ones, now we can align it, and with scroll button, I can select like this, Control X to cut, and let's paste it right here. Now what I want to put values everywhere. And the value is going to be returned as dictionaries, so we have to read it like this. You can see it was already suggesting correctly. You can see it knows what we're doing. With tab, we're going to accept all AI suggestions. It's going to save us time. And great, so that's our UI form. Now let's go and test it. Now I'm going to click here. I'm going to select some views. Again, doesn't matter for now, just select randomly. Now I get my form for rules. And ignore that one, that's just a print statement from somewhere before. Now I can say, you know what, I forgot to check what we actually selected, but let's say EF, and replacing, I don't know, replace maybe spaces. You see right here, I put one space, here's nothing, so I'm gonna remove all empty kind of spaces. Click on OK. You can see block 35, for example, becomes EF, block 35 without spaces, and then solar wall. So we rename some stuff. I can try to maybe search it by EF now. And you'll see here all kind of renamed views. So it worked. Now we have control. Great. So far, not bad. Let's get back. And somewhere here, we need to remove this print statement. And I accidentally canceled AI, so I'm going to do it again. Turn it into RPV flex form. Now let's get back. The tool is already working pretty good, but let's push it forward. So for example, looking at the code, I want to clean up a little. That one is a bit too much. So Control K to modify, and I'm going to type here something like, can you make it a function and use it? Let's click on enter. Now I'm just going to put everything inside the function. I'm going to accept it. Now here's our function. It become a little bit dirtier, but hey, just going to grab that one. And I'm going to create here a new one for functions. Paste it there. Also, I like to copy that one. So copy, paste it here. Oh, by the way, these ones are created with Figurelet plugin, but we're not going to do it now. So let's just go and come back here. So now this is how we define it. So we can also move imports. Let's keep it clean. So imports goes to imports. Have our function here. Can also add here description. Get renaming rules. Something like that. Yeah, that's fine. Great. So step one, kind of select views. Step two, define renaming rules. And we assign them at the same time because this returns 4 values. Somewhere here you will see value number 1, value number 2, and so on. Also here, maybe I want to make it a bit simpler for you to read. So I'm just going to first define all of these. And then I'm going to return them like that. I think it's much cleaner syntax now. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Great. What else? Well, at the moment, it's working pretty good. But now let's go and try it again. So I click, I select some views. Let's say those. For example, building, replace. I can see it works. Now the output, quite boring. So let's go and fix that. So we're going to get back and find where we report changes. And now I actually want to change it to a table. And usually you have to do it kind of outside of loops because first you gather data, then you print it. I'm going to select a bit more. Control K. Can you change report into pyRevit table output? Enter, something happened. So you can see instead of printing, now we're just appending it to a new list. Then right here, we're going to print it all together inside print table. Let's just see how it looks. Click here. Doesn't matter what we select. Let's go for the camera ones. Select here. Let's say camera going to become, I don't know, device. Okay. Now look at that. Instead of like previous ones, now it's already a table, way nicer. Original name, new name, super nice. I like that. We're not done here either. Let's go back. You know what? We're going to select all of it again in case it needs it. Control K. Can you make a linkify button inside table saying open view and its name? I'm going to click on enter. It makes necessary changes. Accept. Added a bunch of comments. Let's kind of clean it up. So it creates here the name for the link label, then it creates the link itself, then it adds it in the table. Maybe I want to have it first, and then like this. Great, it's already way better. Now it's going to print it again. Let's go and try it. Again, click here. I don't know, let's take this device, move it back. Device, camera, again. I'm going to get rid of these pre-filled values in a moment. First, let's see. Oh, now module has no attribute linkify. That's okay. Line 87. So right here, pyRevit output, we don't have that one. So it hallucinated here a bit. Huh, interesting. But we actually have the output already defined right here. So I'm going to grab that one. I'm going to use it here. That will be fine. I know that it's going to work. But now let's just go and change the values. You can see right here are the default values. Let's clean them like that. Actually, we can remove this text altogether. Again, I'm using scroll to make this special selection because usually it's like this, but with scroll button, it's like this. Perfect. And these ones, well, we can remove it like that. Now it's getting better and better. Again, let's just go and test it. Click here, coordinates, accept. Prefix, I forgot what I selected, so I'm just gonna add prefix and suffix. All right, so I crashed my Revit. Very good for the demo. I think I'm gonna leave it in just so you see sometimes it happens. Usually you just get errors saying that something didn't work out. It's very rarely that it actually crashes. So I'm very surprised it happened. But anyway, we need to investigate, have to go back. Well, in your case, you'll probably copy paste it in Claude Code, some smarter models, ask for feedback. Now, I know that it stopped working after we added Linkify, so probably something have to do with these ones. And right here, we can see we're creating a name. Cannot really break, that's fine. The link. Here, it should be, I think, view ID first, and then the name. Name is fine. So here, we have to put just view ID. I think that might solve it. And also, I realized that I think I don't have my Revit API autocomplete working on the AI. So let's just go and fix it quickly. Sometimes it happens. In my case, I moved folders around. I just fixed the paths. You already have it set up. Let's go to Python and select one of the versions. For example, 25 is fine. You can see now it's applied. That might also make the model smarter because now it's going to get a little bit more context about kind of Revit API in general. So let's hope that's the case. Now we know that we broke here. I think that's required view ID. Well, we're going to try it anyway. So let's go and click it once more. So click here, name swapper, and we can select some views. So find, I'm just going to add prefix EF. Okay. Now instantly it worked. Now I can have here a view, open view, this one. Actually, we don't need the names because names are right here on the side. Let's go and fix it quickly. So we don't need it all together. Just gonna put here open view. So it's always the same open view like this. Maybe just open. Yeah, and that's fine. Now let's get back. Again, click on name swapper, select something. And that's how we usually create. We just kind of keep iterating until we are happy enough to share it. Great. Now again, open view. I mean, again, guys, when you create these kind of small tools, we could leave much earlier. Maybe you don't want Linkify, maybe you don't want reporting, maybe you don't really need some other things. You can always decide yourself when the tool is ready. I'm just showing you that we can keep pushing like forever, like keep upgrading it, adding more features. Now, for example, I think the main functionality is fine. This is more than enough. I'm quite happy with that one. So we started with an idea, then we created a quick proof of concept, and now we added even more features to this tool. And it starts to look like this tool is ready to share, but not so fast. Whenever you think that your tool is ready, it's time to put it through a stress test. So we can break it in every way possible, so we can fix it before anyone else has a chance to break it. And that's exactly what we're gonna do in the next video. So I'm gonna see you soon. All right, welcome back. So in this lesson, we're going to stress test our tool. Basically, we're going to try to break it in every way possible so we can find all the issues and prevent them in the future. And here's the thing. At first, you will think that this is the hardest part, and probably you will even hate it because I think everybody hates it. But this is actually one of the most important steps to make robust tools. And the good news, it's super repetitive because your tools always break the same. If you got UI form, what if user closes it early? Or what if they select nothing? If you're getting elements, what if you didn't get any elements? Or maybe you got wrong elements, and so on. I will cover the full pyRevit debugging protocol much later in pyRevit school when we are ready. But for now, let's just run a quick stress test on our tool to fix it. Plus, I'm gonna share really amazing prompt where AI will do 90% for you in a really structured report. But before that, let's actually try to do it manually. It's actually gonna be quite simple. First of all, we have UI form. What happens if we cancel it? And cancel that one. Oh, we get an error because something couldn't get something. Got it. So that's one of the things. Another thing would be, well, actually that one also. For example, if you didn't select views, but provided something here, you will still fail. You see another kind of error. Usually this hides an error message. So look right here, you will see iteration over something. Well, we haven't selected anything. So we try to rename nothing. Let's get back, and usually the way it works. When you try to get any elements, just check if not selected views, then forms alert, and no views selected. Please try again. And here it's going to be exit script equals true. What? Where did I get it? Got it. Check it out. I'm going to go again to docs, effective inputs, and I took it from here. Well, I already know it because I used it like thousands of times probably, but somewhere here we have like here, how to create alert, and it also includes this exit script right here. Super simple. Now let's get back. So if not selected views, we cancel. I also like to mark it with emoji. I click on window dot, then write alert and use that one. Check views selected. Great. Now what's next? After that one, let's go and check. Well, we're also using this form. So we just need to ensure somewhere here, if not values, then forms alert, no values, please try again and quit. Again, I'm just going to paste it here, check, naming rules provided. That's good. Now what else can break here? So this one we checked, this one we checked, we keep going, this one, so then current name is fine, creating this one is fine, creating Linkify works. Actually, yeah, we are changing name here, right? We can mark it, for example, I don't know, some other emoji, Revit API change here. And here's the thing. Well, if you know about views in Revit, you know that they might be kind of unique, and they also cannot kind of contain certain symbols. If I try to drop here a bunch of different symbols, you will see this error. And we can actually make an image of that. It's going to be useful. And also, if I'm going to try L3, name is already supplied. So this I already, well, you all know about it. You just have to think about how to break it. Now let's quickly kind of change it. So we first need to define here new name. So we don't apply it, we just create it first. Then with tab, I'm going to update it here. We need to ensure that this name is legit. I'm just going to paste images here. So check if new name contains any of these symbols. Clean if it does. Keep as short as possible. Because I know we can make it in one line. I hope it can do it. Nope. But oh no. No regex. Do it with least comprehension. What is it doing? Anyway, I'm just gonna make a new string. So new name equals, first of all, I'm gonna make it a list. So there's gonna be character for character in new name. Because as you know, strings in Python, they are iterable objects. So we can iterate through characters. And I'm gonna write if character not in forbidden. Now we have forbidden right here. Paste it here. And there's also a row string, and yeah, that's okay. Now we don't need that part anymore. So now we're getting rid of forbidden symbols. We still might get into duplicates. So let's just go and try first symbols. So I'm just gonna make something. Then prefix is gonna be, I don't remember the symbols. One of these definitely should not work. And we actually break. Expected string, got a list. 97, that's correct. I forgot to finish what I started. That one is a list. I need to convert it into a string. It already suggests me exactly what I want. But I can also kind of merge it right here. Like that. This, what it does here, we select the limiter, something in between. So if you would have something like A, B, and C, whatever you're going to put right here, in my case, 4 of the symbols, it's going to come between all of these ones. So this delimiter. And if it's empty, just going to merge all of them together. Let's try again. Gonna click here, then select, I don't know. Well, we can select whatever we want. Prefix, bunch of symbols. Click on OK. Now it worked. Well, you can see it still added bunch of symbols, but not all of them. I can guarantee that there have been some forbidden ones. Can try it again, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna take something else. Thank you. Now again, I'm gonna put a bunch of them, and I know that that one is not allowed, and I think those as well. So remember this ending as a prefix. Click on OK, and you can see there is no this ending. The special symbol is kind of gone. So we know that it cleans up the symbols. We could notify as well, but I think I'm just gonna skip it already. So we'll keep going now. The view name cannot be unique. For that, I'm just gonna select. I just know that it might happen. Add a check to avoid unique name errors. If new name, current name. Oh boy, what's going on? Okay, so this one is not good. It's just a bunch of gibberish. I don't know. Something is going on here. Instead, what we're gonna do, we're gonna open the agent and ask for some smarter model. I'm gonna select that part right here, then click here on chat. See script lines. Can you add error handling here in case we get a unique view error? I'm gonna choose something more kind of whatever is the most powerful. Opus gonna do a much better job. I just send it. Now the agent is gonna come in. And the thing about agents, they are much smarter because they usually use smarter models, but also you can train them by creating like Claude files, stuff like that. I'm not gonna do it now. Let's just see. It's gonna think about it. It's gonna find it, read it, understand what's going on, and then it's gonna make something like this. So it skips it. I say like, no, don't skip it. I'd want some symbol in the end, like star. And now I can have a conversation and make it code for us. You see, we also can, it's very important that you understand what's going on because you notice that oftentimes I reject what AI suggests. Also, sometimes it just gives gibberish. So let's see what it does. While true. Well, it uses while true, but I mean, that's fine. I would honestly, can we limit tries so we don't end up with infinite loop? So now it should change this while to for loop. I hope it's gonna make like for I in range of 10 or something. Let's just go back and I'm just gonna do it manually. So instead of doing it infinite, I'm just gonna say for I in range 10. We're gonna try to rename it. Once we do, we break. Otherwise, we're gonna keep adding symbols over and over and over. Ensure unique name. And then alert. All right. Now our tool becomes kind of bulletproof. We checked everything we could. All right, and now let's move to the most fun part and create an interactive stress test report. I'm going to provide you a prompt and also you can combine it with your code so it can analyze it and prepare a detailed HTML report of all the changes and fixes we can implement. And this will actually help us create more robust pyRevit tool. Plus, I'm going to show you how to make it super fun. So to do it, first of all, go grab the code, Control A to select everything, Control C to copy. Then copy your prompt and let's go to Claude. I tried different kind of ChatGPT and so on. Claude seems to be the best for HTML, so let's use that. Here's very simplified prompt, and I have a lot of versions of that one. That's just one of them. Here we just tell what to do. Here we're going to provide the code. In this case, it's attached. And in the end, it's really important. I always write, make sure that HTML interactive report is made in Mario style. Maybe Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, like Minecraft, Batman. I made so many different styles, and it's just always fun to make it kind of more interactive in some kind of theme. And then it's just going to work through and it's going to prepare your report. For example, that's how it looks. And the look will always change here and there. But what I like is I always have the same structure. And I'm going to quickly explain you. We're not going to really go through that. I want to keep it short. You can do it on your own. But it will always create kind of summary of what's going on. Then that one is a killer feature. It will list all your API members, like all classes, properties, methods from Revit API, and look for changes. Are there any changes for the versions? And if there are any, for example, element ID, it's going to describe what happened. And it's not always affecting our code. For example, in this case, it tells that element ID had a change in Revit 24, describes the change about kind of numbers it uses. But your script does neither of that. So it doesn't affect our code. It's just for us to know that, well, the class changed, but not for our code. Then the next one, there is going to be, oh, that one is really good. And right here, you can see that highlight parts of script that are prone to failure, suggest improvements. I just went for that one, and actually it caught something I did not expect. First one, it told me that in Python, when you use this replace function, you provide nothing in the find, but something in replace, it will actually place it between every character, and it's gonna mess up your views like this. And now, I always thought that I tested it multiple times, but apparently I didn't. Because if I'm gonna select something here, then provide nothing in find, but provide here in replace, it will actually mess up my code really bad. Look at that one. I did not know that. I used this tool for years. And that's why it's super cool to ask AI for this AI report. It can help you a lot. Also, it noticed that, oh, you actually have the wrong kind of tables headers. And at first I was like, wait, what? How is it possible? But then I remembered that we actually moved the order of the items in the table, but I forgot to adjust my header, so it's correct. It's actually wrong kind of order. And so on. You can see it finds issues, explains you how to fix it, what to do, and so on. You can just follow along this report, read it. It's going to tell you if there are any performance issues. In this case, we're good. Just kind of minor things, which not really going to help us in any way. But sometimes it can flag you really big issues if you kind of mess up your code. And final score is just for fun, and often it's going to be way lower than it is. So don't get discouraged when it's low numbers. And again, we can do it in different styles. For example, that one is in Star Wars. Check this one out. The name swapper, a pyRevit view renaming tool. The tool works, select views, type. You get the idea. Like, honestly, this one is quite boring, just dark theme, the rest. So I expected more. Then I also made one in Minecraft. See some interactive blocks and stuff like that. But overall, the structure stays the same. API table, version changes, failure-prone analysis, performance analysis, and final score. That's how I like it. Then Harry Potter, the Daily Prophet newspaper. You can see that's how it can look. I don't know, today AI is not, ooh, that one is a nice, but I also gave different prompt here. It even added here sounds, the council of the code. But you can see the structure stays the same. You can just kind of put different colors, different themes. It also sometimes uses the words from your kind of theme. Ooh, interesting. But the point is, like, you will always kind of have the same structure. And I just want to show you, like, this is my favorite so far. It's just super clean. I provided the same very short prompt. And this one is the cleanest I got. It added me sounds. It added me here filters, what changes. Here on the bottom, I had to click on the box to actually open it. Super fun. Then here, the danger zone. Like, everything is, I don't know, this styling is the best. I might just implement it later in an app where it's going to do for you in the same style. Look at that one. It's amazing. I don't know about you. I just love this report. It makes me want to read them instead of this kind of boring outputs that we usually use. Yeah, guys, we're not really going to go through this kind of report. You can do it on your own. I flagged kind of a few issues that might happen. You can fix it on your own with AI. I think that's a good exercise. And now we can just call that our tool is stress tested. It's ready for the battle. But I also want to share how we can make it even better and supercharge it with AI in the next lesson. So you definitely don't want to miss that one. See ya. Alright, so by now you should have a very solid tool that you can share with your team. But we can also make it even better by supercharging it with AI. And there's actually quite a lot that we could do, but I will focus specifically on a modern UI form so I can provide a better user experience for selecting views, setting renaming rules, and most importantly, having a live preview of all the renaming kind of rules. This way we can decide if it's good or not before we commit. And now, a quick note, I normally prefer using Claude Code for all my agentic workflows, but to kind of make it simpler and faster, we will use Cursor native agent in vanilla form without any setup. This way, we can all kind of do it together right away. So let's dive in. Now I'm just going to go a little bit crazy. Can you duplicate a name swapper button and create kind of enhanced version where we can add a custom VPF UI form with view selections, live previews, and naming rules. Call it Swapper Plus. Right now, again, I'm going to use Opus 4.8. That's a really good one, or maybe GPT 5.5, whatever you prefer. I'm going to send that one in. Let's just see what we get. That one is a little bit like crazy one because it's going to write a lot of code. There are like hundreds of lines just to create the UI form. Also, without any kind of reference files, it might mess up UI. It will probably show up, but the code is going to be messy because I saw some VPF code it does like with vanilla settings, and I mean, it works, but maintaining it wouldn't be like nice, let's say. Let's see what we get. Oh, no, why did I do it so long? All right, I came back and I see it's still thinking. As you can see, these agents can sometimes take quite some time, but now it's kind of verifying in a loop, like creates codes, verifies it, and so on. I can already see a new folder right here. So I think meanwhile, while it still thinks, we can go and reload pyRevit. Because even if it changes the code, that's totally fine. We just need to show the button, and then the button updates automatically when you add the code. There's no need to kind of reload every time you update the code, unless you work with libraries, but this one is questionable. You can see Swapper Plus. Now we just go and wait, and I think it finished, so I just click and see what we get. And that's what we get. Well, ignore those, the symbols we actually said, but now that's our renamer. You can you can see Swapper Plus. And you'll notice that what it did, it went through our existing kind of extension, found working example, and kind of used it as a base. Because now it looks similar like button generator. And I think most of your tools will if you're going to use agentic now. Let's say that, well, first of all, select none. Search views. Let's find this L floor plans. Okay, it's not perfect. Let's say L1. Here, floor plan. L2, well, L2 doesn't exist. L3, floor plan. Now, it's not ideal. Yeah, so I don't like it, so I'm gonna go back and just gonna ramble what I don't like about it. Okay, so I'm looking at your form that you made, and there are a few issues. Well, first of all, the selection. I want to be able to filter by floor plans, area, and stuff like that. And second of all, well, the selection and preview should be a little bit different, maybe different kind of columns or something. Because first of all, I want to select my views, and then I want to see the current and new name only for the selected views. This is going to help me navigate and see the right answers better. And yeah, just add also a filter to select between these kind of floor plans and stuff like that, like areas, ceiling plans, drawing sheets, and so on. And yeah, I think that's good. So I'm going to send it. And often just ramble to these agents. They are pretty good. This is actually, I would say, much better than typing. First of all, you're going to do it much quicker. And oftentimes, it's going to provide more context because while you think you're just going to throw in a lot of extra details, sometimes you can clean it up if it kind of went sideways, it's dirty. But overall, I think it's quite okay to do that. But yeah, also let's rename. And well, no views were named. Maybe I deselected or something, but let's see. So you can push it quite far. Now it's about the time. And the thing is that you can spin up multiple agents, work on multiple tools. But when you do it this way, kind of code with AI, it's really good if you can judge the code, the output, and kind of make changes that you personally want. Because, well, even though AI is good, it's great, it's either takes long with agents or it's faster models, which might be dumber and miss some context and do something not the right way. Maybe it does it in a kind of right way, but not the best. So yeah, it's always best if you have the understanding to modify what AI is doing. All right, now it made some changes. Let's just open and see what we get now. So click. Oh, now it's working. First of all, select none. Preview is empty. All views. Now it's already something usable. So let's get maybe floor plan. Let's get this L views, L1, L2, whatever they are. L1, that one, L2, then maybe L3, L4, L5. Now here on the top, I can say the prefix is going to be EF. The fine is going to be, let's see, nothing happens. But if I'm going to find L, I can say level, maybe like 0, 1, suffix. You can put some date, I don't know, draft. Here we can write floor plan. You know what? We're not gonna write anything. And I think that's good. Let's rename it. Perfect, perfect. We could also turn that output into another menu, so it also kind of displays differently, more functionality. You can see that now Revit API is so much fun because we have this agents AI, we have always somewhere to get answers. As long as you can judge your output and kind of direction of the code, because there were actually a few suggestions by AI that I didn't like. I mean, probably I would just get an error and eventually fix it with AI as well. But it's very, very good when you kind of judge the output of AI. Because sometimes you just blindly can follow and it can sometimes go astray, and then getting from there back on track might be really hard. But that's why you would normally set up the proper kind of backup system so you can always go back and so on, but some other time maybe. All right, guys, now we finished with your very first pyRevit tool. And I know it took quite a lot of time and it's quite advanced, but I showed you all the stages of real development. We started with a plan, we thought about it, we kind of gathered research, which we kind of took the shortcut, but still. Then we kind of went through, we started with proof of concept. Proof of concept took us maybe 5 minutes, 15 lines of code. We already had a working tool. Then we started working slowly, feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, 4, 5. Then I'm like, okay, fine. Then in the end, we throw in AI and told it like, hey, do that and that and that. And now, look at that. We have this amazing tool right here that pretty much all of you can start using right away. You can even add a few more rules and that would be great. And honestly, I absolutely like how it works. Well, it's similar to what I expected, but yeah, it did a good job. I did not expect that it would grab my form, to be honest. I thought that it's just gonna kind of, as usually, kind of come up with some random stuff. But hey, it did a good job. I really like the end tool. Even though we could improve it even more, I think we need to know as developers when to stop. Because with AI, it gives you so much kind of code power that you need to sometimes tell yourself, Eric, don't do it, enough. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, guys. Yeah, I just have one more lesson where I'm going to talk about what are your next steps, what you should focus on, how to get better with pyRevit and Revit API. But for now, congratulations, you did a great job. You have an amazing tool. And I hope that you're going to use the same kind of process for creating more tools and also kind of experimenting with AI, see how far you can get it. So I'm going to see you in the next one. See ya.